Good morning, guys. I hope I'm audible to all. So let's start today's session. So we'll discuss today about cost volume profit analysis and marginal costing. So first of all, let's look at the cost volume profit analysis and marginal costing. First of all, we will talk about what is marginal costing. See, marginal cost means variable cost. Marginal cost means variable cost, and only variable cost is the part of decision making. Fixed cost is not the part of decision making. There are three types of cost: variable cost, fixed cost, and semi-variable cost. What is a variable cost? Variable cost is a cost which changes according to level of production. So if you are producing more units, more variable cost you have to incur. If you are producing less units, less variable cost you have to incur. Variable cost, generally we explain variable cost expressed in per unit terms. Examples of variable cost are raw material cost, direct labor, variable overheads. These are the examples of variable cost. So I'm talking about the variable cost. Variable cost is a cost which changes according to level of production. If you are increasing your level of production, variable cost will increase. If you are decreasing your level of production, variable cost will decrease. Similarly, variable cost expressed in per unit terms, it can be expressed very well in per unit terms. Examples of variable cost are raw material cost, direct labor, variable overheads. Let's talk about the fixed cost. Fixed cost remains constant. Fixed cost remains constant at all level of production or operations. Fixed cost remains constant at all level of production and operations. That means if you produce 0 unit, 0 to 100%, whatever production you are doing, your fixed cost will remain same, will not change. Fixed cost should not be expressed in terms of per unit cost. It should not be expressed in terms of per unit cost. I'm not saying it can't be expressed. You can very well express it, but that term will be misleading. For example, I'll take an example and I'll explain you why it should not be expressed per unit. Let's say there's a factory and monthly rent of factory is 10,000 rupees. You have taken you have a factory and you are doing production there, and the monthly rent of that factory is 10,000 rupees. That is fixed. Now let's say take the production in the month of January. Let's say you produced 1,000 units. Okay. In the month of February, you are producing 1,200 units. In the month of March, you produced 800 units. In the month of April, you produced 500 units. So rent per month, this is the production in units. These are the months. Okay. Now rent per month is constant 10,000 every month. There is no change in that. But if I calculate rent per unit, then in the January 10,000 divided by 1,000, your rent per unit is 10 in the month of January. Then 10,000 divided by 1,200, it is 8.33. Then 10,000 divided by 800, it is 12.5. Then 10,000 divided by 500, it becomes 20. So rent per unit every month is coming different. It's not coming same. So that means if you will express fixed cost per unit, this figure will mislead to you. This is a misleading. We should not express fixed cost per unit basis. It should not be expressed per unit basis. However, in the question you can get the fixed cost on per unit basis. By multiplying the given number of units, we can convert into actual value of the fixed cost. So fixed cost should not be expressed in terms of per unit basis. And fixed cost remains constant. Fixed cost remains constant at all levels of production of operation. Examples of fixed cost are monthly rent, salary, fixed overheads, cost not directly related to production. Generally, cost not directly related to production are fixed cost. Cost not directly related to production. Here I would like to give you one more type of cost, another classification of cost, which will also help you to understand variable cost and fixed cost. Another classification of cost. If you have any doubt, you can ask me over chat. Another classification of cost, one is called product cost and second is called period cost. So generally your product cost is a variable cost and period cost will be fixed cost. What is the product cost? Raw material. Raw material is a product cost. If you are producing, then only you will use the raw material, otherwise you will not use the raw material. Okay, and similarly wages, direct wages, if you produce the goods, then only you will use the direct wages. So these are the product cost. Period cost means this cost is not directly related to the product. Period cost means the cost is not directly related to the product and it is related to a particular period, like rent, salary of supervisor. Whether you produce the goods or not, you have to pay salary to supervisor. Accounts department salary. Indirect expenses which are not directly related to production. All these are period cost. So we understood the difference between variable and fixed cost. There is a one more cost called semi-variable cost. Semi-variable cost. So basically, in the semi-variable cost, it is further divided into variable and fixed portion. So your semi-variable cost you can further divide into fixed and variable portion. So at the end of the day, you will have only two types of cost, either variable or fixed cost. Semi-variable cost will not remain semi-variable because that semi-variable cost we will divide it into variable and fixed portion. How to divide a semi-variable cost into variable and fixed portion, that I will tell you later. Right now we have to understand the marginal costing. So to explain you the marginal costing, I explained you the variable cost and fixed cost concept, so that now you can catch the marginal costing concept. So marginal costing, what marginal costing says that there are two types of cost, fixed and variable, which I explained you. Marginal costing says that only variable cost is a part of decision making. Only variable cost is a part of decision making. So first sentence I will explain you, sir, what is this variable cost is a part of decision making? What decision we have to take? So I will explain this sentence. Variable cost is a part of decision making. Second important statement which I need to explain is fixed cost is a sunk cost. Fixed cost is a sunk cost and fixed cost is not a part of decision making. Okay. So these three statements we will try to understand what does it mean. Variable cost is a part of decision making. What kind of decision we have to make? What kind of decision we have to make? We will study that also. But based on that, variable cost is a part of decision making and fixed cost is not a part of decision making. I can make a generalized statement that marginal costing Marginal costing helps in decision making. Marginal costing helps in decision making. Now, what kind of decision we have to make? Let's look into an example. Let's look into an example. Let's say Mr. X starting a new business. He's starting a new business, or mainly he's opening a shop, or you can say a shop or showroom. Monthly rent 1 lakh rupees. Monthly rent 1 lakh rupees. Showroom taken on lease. Showroom taken on lease for 5 years. And monthly rent is 1 lakh rupees. See, this is your fixed cost. Every month you have to pay 1 lakh rupees rent for the shop or showroom you have taken on lease for 5 years. Now, whether you sell the goods, you do not sell the goods, whether you produce the goods there or do not produce the goods there, this monthly rent is you have to pay compulsory. This is your compulsory expenditure. It's not your discretionary expenditure. If you want to incur, you will incur. If you don't want to incur, you will not incur. It's not like that. It's a compulsory expenditure. It's a liability and responsibility that you have to pay every month 1 lakh rupees. Now, as you can't change this expenditure, as this expenditure is not in your discretionary power, this expenditure we will say not a part of decision making. Not a part of decision making. Why not a part of decision making? Because this expenditure will not impact anything in future, any profitability in future. Now we want to produce the goods or don't want to produce the goods, that's not based on this expenditure. Obviously, if you will not produce the goods, this monthly rent you have to pay, and this will be a loss for you if you will not produce the goods. That's okay. But whether you want to produce or not, this cost will not play the part. Let me make it more clear by putting more values to this example. Now, let's say the product which you are going to sell. The product which you are going to sell is selling price per unit of that product is let's say 250 rupees. Now variable cost per unit is given. So variable cost per unit, let's say assume variable cost per unit is 190 rupees. 190 rupees. Selling price per unit 250. Variable cost per unit is 190, or maybe I can take a little bit easy. 200 rupees. 200 rupees variable cost per unit. Monthly rent is 1 lakh. Now calculate profit on various level of productions. Okay, so let's say if I solve it further, particular, I'm taking the figures of January, February, March, April, 4 months. In January, my production was 1000 units. In February, the production was 1500 units. Production and sale was 1500 units. In March, production and sale is 3000 units. In April, production and sale is 1200 units. This is production and sale. Production and sale. So your selling price per unit is 250. So sale value will be 250 multiplied by 1000. Less variable cost. Now your variable cost is 200. Variable cost per unit is 200. So 200 multiply by 1000 units. So sale minus variable cost gives you the contribution. Sale minus variable cost gives you the contribution 2,50,000 minus 2 lakh. 50,000 rupees. 50,000 rupees is your contribution. 50,000, 75,000, 1,50,000 and 60,000. These are your contributions. So what is happening? You purchase material for 200 rupees per unit and you sell it out for 250 rupees per unit and you earn 50 rupees per unit. 50 rupees per unit is your earning. That is called contribution made by 1 unit. 1 unit gives you 50 rupees. Why the word contribution we have used? Contribution means profit contributed by each unit. So 1 unit we purchase for 200 and 250. That is our gross margin. Now all our expenditure should be meted out from that 50 rupees per unit. Nobody opens a business to sell only 1 unit. If I will do the business only for 1 unit, I will not be able to incur my fixed cost. You know my fixed cost is 1 lakh rupees. In this example, my fixed cost is 1 lakh rupees per month. 1 unit can give me 50 rupees. 2 units can give me 100 rupees. 3 units can give me 150 rupees. I need to sell out that much unit so that I can get 1 lakh rupees at least. So less fixed cost. Fixed cost, if I reduce my fixed cost first month, what will be the profit or loss? First month I have a loss of 50,000. Second month loss of 25,000. Third month profit 50,000. Fourth month loss 40,000. Basically, I have to operate at that level of production. I have to operate at that level of production and sale where at least I can incur my fixed cost. Because my fixed cost is 1 lakh every month. It is constant. It is not changing. So I'm not taking fixed cost into my decision making part. I will not take fixed cost into my decision making part. I will not take fixed cost to my decision making part. Now let me tell you. Let's say in the month of May, selling price per unit reduced to 220. Selling price per unit reduced to 220. And because the selling price per unit reduced to 220, I am able to sell 4,000 units. Production and sell 4,000 units. Then what will happen? My sale will be 4,000 multiplied by 220. 8,80,000 is the sale value. Variable cost will be 4,000 units into 200 per unit. 8 lakh. Contribution will come 880 minus 8 lakh 80,000. Fixed cost will be 1 lakh. So I will incur a loss of 20,000. So whether I should sell in the month of May or not, 4,000 units I should produce and sell or not, that is based on the selling price per unit or variable cost per unit changes every month or every day, but not my fixed cost. Fixed cost is the cost which is already I incurred. So that is not the part of decision making. The part of decision making is the variable cost. Now, variable cost is a part of decision making. Fixed cost is a sunk cost. Sunk cost means cost already incurred. Sunk cost means cost already incurred and will not change with future decisions. Will not change with future decisions. Fixed cost is not part of decision making and marginal costing helps in decision making. So that definitely we will marginal costing helps in decision making. That in every sum we will do, we will find out that marginal costing helps in decision making. We will definitely work on that. Now, so what marginal costing statement? Marginal costing statement. It starts with sales less variable cost sale minus variable cost will be contribution less fixed cost contribution less fixed cost, that will be profit or loss. This is your marginal costing statement. Now, if I want to write down all this in the formula base, then I can say contribution is equal to sales minus variable cost profit or loss equal to contribution minus fixed cost contribution minus fixed cost. One more formula I can give for contribution. Contribution is equal to fixed cost plus profit. Okay. Now we will calculate profit volume ratio. Profit volume ratio. In other words, I can say it ratio of contribution over sale. Ratio of contribution over sale. For example, if sale is 2 lakh rupees and contribution is rupees 80,000, sale is rupees 2 lakh and contribution is rupees 80,000. So your profit volume ratio will be, the profit volume ratio is equal to contribution upon sales multiplied by 100. That is your profit volume ratio. Contribution upon sales multiplied by 100. So contribution is, how you will calculate it? Contribution is 80,000 divided by sale is 2 lakh and multiply by 100. So that will give you 40%. So 40% is what your profit volume ratio. And what this 40% shows? What 40% shows? This 40% express that for every 1 rupee sale, there will be 40 paisa. For every 1 rupee sale, there will be 40 paisa gross margin. Gross margin, or what gross margin means? Profit before deducting fixed cost. Profit before deducting fixed cost. Profit before deducting fixed cost. That is your gross margin. This 40% express that for every 1 rupee sale, there will be 40 paisa gross margin. Profit before deducting fixed cost. So contribution is a profit before deducting fixed cost. Okay, to understand this, let's take an example. Selling price per unit. Let's say selling price per unit 120 rupees. Variable cost per unit 90 rupees. Fixed cost for the year let's say 18,000 rupees. Calculate PV ratio. PV ratio means profit volume ratio, and profit or loss at various level of operation. Okay. So if I want to calculate the PV ratio, I should know the selling price and contribution. So selling price per unit 120 is given. Variable cost per unit 90. So contribution per unit is equal to selling price per unit minus variable cost per unit. So the contribution per unit will be 120 minus 90 is equal to 30. Contribution per unit. Now if I want to calculate the profit volume ratio, profit volume ratio is equal to 30 divided by 120 multiplied by 100. So that will be 25%. 25% is your profit volume ratio. Profit volume ratio is 25%. Now, calculation of profit or loss at various levels of operation. So particular, let's say case A, case B, case C, case D. So sales. First of all, let's write down the units. Let's say case A 500 units, then case B 800 units. I'm just assuming different level of production and operations, 1200 and 1500. These are the different scenarios. What if I produce 500 units? If I produce 500 units and selling 500 units, then my sale value will be 500 units multiplied by selling price per unit is 120 in this question. Similarly, For 800 unit it will be 96,000. For 1000 units it will be 1,20,000. For 1200 units it will be 1,44,000. And for 1500 units it will be 1,80,000 sale value based on 120 rupees per unit. Now variable cost per unit is 90 rupees. So I will calculate variable cost according to 90 rupees. 500 multiply by 90. Similarly 800 multiply by 90. 90,000 multiply by 90. This is the variable cost. Now contribution will be sales minus variable cost. So 60,000 minus 45,000. That will be my contribution. And that contribution similarly sale minus variable cost, sale minus variable cost, sale minus variable cost, I can calculate the contribution. Now the very interesting thing which I'm going to do, I'm calculating PV ratio in all the cases. Now I'm going to calculate PV ratio in all the cases. The formula is contribution upon sale multiply by 100. That formula I'm going to use. Contribution upon sales multiply by 100. So this formula we are going to use in all the method. Okay. So now first let's how we are going to calculate. This will be 15,000 multiply by 100 divided by 60,000. Similarly 24,000 multiply by 100 divided by 96,000. Yeah. So this is the calculation which we will do. So in all the cases, you will get PV ratio 40%. 40% the PV ratio in all the cases. That is your PV ratio, profit volume ratio. Okay. In all the cases, your PV ratio is 40%. Are you getting my point? So PV ratio remains constant at all level of production. Sale minus variable cost contribution, your percentage of contribution on sale. So in the first case, your contribution is 15,000. Sale is 60,000. Contribution is 15,000. Sale is 60,000. So your PV ratio contribution upon sale is 40%. Oh, it's not coming 40%. I'm sorry. It's 25%. 25%. It's not 40%. It's 25%. Yeah. Then similarly, 24,000 divided by 96,000 into 100, 25%. 30,000 divided by 120,000, 25%. 36,000 divided by 144 into 100, 25%. So your PV ratio is 25%, which we calculated already, profit volume ratio 25%. And also I again calculated in at various levels, your PV ratio is 25%. Now, if you will write down the fixed cost, which is constant at every level of production, 18,000. 18,000 is your fixed cost, which is constant. 1 minute, guys. I'm just taking a 1 minute break. Yeah, sorry guys. So fixed cost 18,000 is constant at every level of production. Now we'll calculate the profit. Profit is equal to contribution minus fixed cost. So contribution 15,000 minus fixed cost 18,000. 3,000 rupees loss happened in first case, and then 6,000, 12,000, 18,000, 27,000 profit. So I hope you understand the profit volume ratio. Ratio of contribution over sale. Profit volume ratio is the ratio of contribution over sale. Okay. See, now we can see that in the current example, we can see that if I'm producing 500 units, I'm getting 3,000 rupees loss. If I'm producing and selling 800 units, then I'm getting a 6,000 rupees profit. So at 500 units, I'm facing losses, and at 800 units, I'm facing I'm getting the profits. So what is the quantity? Where is the sale? Where I will face no profit, no loss situation. That is called break-even point. So let's talk about that break-even point. This is a point of sale where no profit or no loss situation exists. No profit, no loss situation. Production, or I can say operations, below break-even point will lead to net losses, and operations above break-even point will lead to net profits. Okay. So what is the break-even point? Where no profit, no loss situation exists. No profit, no loss. When there will be no profit, no loss. No profit, no loss means sales revenue is equal to total cost. No profit, no loss means sales revenue is equal to total cost. Sales revenue is equal to total cost. So if I want to formalize it, so I can say sales is equal to variable cost plus fixed cost. This holds equal to situation of break-even point. When your sale value is equal to variable cost plus fixed cost, this means this is a situation of variable cost. Situation of break-even point. Now, sales minus variable cost is contribution. I'm just changing the position of variable cost. Sales minus variable cost is equal to fixed cost. That means when contribution is equal to fixed cost, when your contribution is equal to fixed cost, then it is a situation of it is a situation of fixed cost. It's a situation of break-even point. Break-even point. That is very, very important line, my dear friends. When contribution is equal to fixed cost, then it is a situation of break-even point. Contribution is equal to fixed cost, then it is a situation of break-even point. Contribution is equal to fixed cost. Now, I will try to figure out this line in the above calculation. I'll just paste this line here so that I can read this again and again. When contribution is equal to fixed cost, then it is a situation of break-even point. In the first case, my contribution is 15,000, fixed cost is 18,000, so my contribution was less than fixed cost. That's why I incurred the loss. Profit negative means loss. In the second situation, my contribution was 24,000. Contribution was 24,000 and fixed cost was 18,000. Because of that, I got 6,000 rupees profit. That means contribution is a very important tool. If this contribution is equals to fixed cost, then I will get the no profit, no loss situation. Okay. My fixed cost is 18,000, that is for sure. 18,000 it will be. And I want a contribution of 18,000, then only I can say, okay, now I am at the break-even point. So in the above given example, fixed cost is 18,000. If contribution is also 18,000, then it will be equal to fixed cost, and that will be the situation of no profit, no loss. So we need contribution equal to 18,000 and PV ratio is given 25%. That means contribution is 25% of sales. Contribution is 25% of sale. So sales, how to calculate sales? Sales value is equal to contribution upon PV ratio. With this formula, I can calculate this. With this formula, I can calculate the sales. Contribution upon PV ratio. So my contribution is 18,000 divided by PV ratio 25%. If I will do this calculation, I will get a sale value. My sale value will come 72,000. 72,000 will be the sale value. 72,000 will be the sale value. 18,000 divided by 25%, 72,000 will be the sale value. So 72,000 is that sale value where my contribution will be equal to fixed cost. It is that sale value where contribution will be equal to fixed cost, and this sale point will be called as break-even sale point. This sale point will be called as break-even sale point. Okay. So sales 72,000, contribution 25%, that will be 18,000. Fixed cost 18,000. So profit or loss is equal to 0. No profit, no loss. So contribution upon PV ratio, but that contribution is equal to, what is the nature of that contribution? Contribution which is equal to fixed cost. Contribution which is equal to fixed cost. That kind of contribution we want. We want that kind of contribution which is equal to fixed cost. So finally, by this calculation, I can formalize the break-even point. So the formula of break-even point I have derived. The formula of break-even point is fixed cost divided by PV ratio. If I want to calculate the break-even point in amount, break-even point sale in amount, this is the break-even point sale in amount. Break-even point sale in amount, I calculated, the formula is fixed cost divided by PV ratio. Fixed cost divided by PV ratio, very important formula. We have find out very important formula. One minute. Break-even point sale in amount. So this is the very important formula, my dear friends, and I'm just not giving you the formula, I'm just deriving this formula. So that is very important. You have to understand how this formula got derived. Break-even point sale in amount, that is fixed cost upon PV ratio. And very quickly, I'll tell you how to calculate break-even point sale in units. Break-even point sale in units. So break-even point sale in units, how to calculate that? The formula for break-even point sale in units will be fixed cost divided by contribution per unit. Fixed cost divided by contribution per unit. Fixed cost divided by contribution per unit. And by this calculation, fixed cost divided by contribution per unit, you can calculate break-even point sale in units. So these are very important formulas which you have to learn. And I also explained you how to derive this formula. How these formulas got derived. So why fixed cost debit in the numerator? Because this is not fixed cost, this is representing the contribution which is equal to fixed cost. This is representing the contribution which is equal to fixed cost. So these very important formulas we have derived in this study session. Okay. Next, break-even point we have calculated. Now quickly I will tell you one more concept, then we'll end up the session. That is margin of safety. Margin of safety. So margin of safety what is your danger point? Danger point is break-even point. Why break-even point is a danger point? Because below break-even point, we will incur losses. So nobody wants to go beyond below break-even point. So that is a danger point. So margin of safety means how much you are above the danger point. How much margin of safety will explain. It will explain the distance between actual sale and break-even sale. So the formula of marginal costing, the formula of marginal costing is, sorry, the formula of margin of safety is margin of safety is equal to actual sale minus break-even point sale. Actual sale minus break-even point sale. So in the above calculation, I calculated the break-even point sale as 72,000. 72,000 was the break-even point sale. If I'll go up, so sale value 96,000, 120, 144, 180. This is the sale value. This is the sale value. I'll take this sale value from that example to calculate margin of safety here. So this is the sale value which I take. Sale value 60,000, 96,000, 120, 144, 1,80,000. Now break even sale. Break even sale is 72,000. Now margin of safety. So in the first example, your margin of safety will lead to negative 12,000 because instead of, I will say there is no safety, there is no margin of safety or negative margin of safety because your actual sale is already below break even point. In the second case, the margin of safety is 24,000, then 48,000, 70,000, 1,08,000. So the actual sale above the break even sale shows the margin of safety. So this margin of safety helps us in the decision making. This margin of safety helps us in the sensitivity, price sensitivity analysis. It helps in price sensitivity analysis. Margin of safety helps us that in case of lower price in the market or in case of down market, how much sale value or sale volume or sale price we can decline or we can reduce and still we can survive. So if it's a situation where my actual sale is 1,80,000 but break even sale is 72,000, so I can reduce my actual sale by 1,08,000. Margin of safety helps in sensitivity, price sensitivity, price sensitive analysis. We can take a risk to reduce sale value to the extent of margin of safety. You can reduce your sale value to the extent of margin of safety, below which you can't reduce your sale value. To the extent of margin of safety, you can play. If you want to play beyond margin of safety range, then you may incur losses. One formula also I want to tell you, margin of safety ratio. Margin of safety ratio, which is which helps us to calculate the margin of safety in percentage terms. So very simple formula is actual sale minus break-even point sale divided by actual sale multiplied by 100. So actual sale minus break-even point sale divided by actual sale multiplied by 100. That is your formula for margin of safety ratio. Margin of safety ratio. So I hope guys this demo session of marginal costing helps you to understand the basic concept of marginal costing. If you have any doubt, you can ask me over the chat. Okay. So I will share this spreadsheet with Edupistin administrative staff, and if you want, you can they will mail you whatever we discussed. I will share. I'm going to share this spreadsheet over the mail, and from there where you can take it. And the second thing, I think we have to take these polls. So I'll select a poll. Can you please vote for this? Please, all guys, please vote for this. Still, I think 2 or 3 students not voted for this. Okay. Next, I'm going to launch second poll. Please vote for this. Okay. This time also I got 67% voting. I'm closing it. Okay. Now, please vote for this poll. Okay, thank you. Now please vote for this poll. Everybody voted for this poll, I hope. Okay. And I'm just closing this poll. Please vote for the next poll, quality of voice. Okay. I'm closing this. And vote for the next poll, quality of content. Only 50% of the students voted for this. Please vote more people. Okay. Then thank you for this. And last poll, quality of internet connection. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you all. Thank you very much for having listening this demo session. And this sheet I'll mail to the education administration staff. Thank you very much.